Hey guys, Matt here for Christmas week on the DVD Watchers. I'm Christmasing it up. Got my Santa hat. I got my Christmas tree back here with some lights on. I usually have ornaments on there. I just didn't have time to put any on this yet. I decided to do a 60s classic that always comes on TV no matter where, or I think it comes on in Canada as well, I believe, and here. I'm not sure about other places, but it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This came out in 1964. First aired in 1964. It comes in a white case. That's pretty cool. I got this one for $5 at Big Lots. Where to start? I remember watching this as a kid all the time. It always came on TV. We watched it in school. I mean, it was just all over the place. And stop motion animation, which you'll see on the trailer I put on rather before here at the beginning or the end. Stop motion in 1964, and it was I actually really liked the stop motion in this. It's really kind of cool. But Frosty the Snowman was animated, and they also had animated elements and real life elements through this, which that's kind of cool. So everybody knows the story of Rudolph basically from the song, but obviously if you just use lyrics from the song, you're not going to have a very good movie because not much is going to happen. So, you know, it does add different stuff from the song, so that's cool. It starts off with a montage of newspaper clips saying that it's the worst winter ever, biggest storm ever, yada yada. And then we see a snowman in a nice vest with his pocket watch and a top hat, and he's just waddling through the snow. He introduces himself as Sam, and he's going to be the narrator of the story here. So he starts off telling the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And so yeah, it starts off where Donner, who is the head reindeer, Santa's head reindeer, is having a baby, having a kid, or his wife has had a kid, and it shows that it's Rudolph. And you know, he's a little baby and he's huddling down below his mom, and he pops up and he's got a red nose, and then it makes this weird ass noise like kind of like a horn. I don't know why it does that. Every time it lights up, it makes that weird noise, and it just lights up really bright. And his dad's like, well, that's awkward, but they still love him, whatever. But he's like, we got to find a way to hide this, you know what I'm saying? Because you'll never be accepted as a reindeer. Which he was smart on that part, because later, obviously, when they find out his nose is red, they shun him. But, so he gets up a cloud of dirt, and he puts mud over the red nose to hide it or whatnot. And then Santa comes to visit his favorite head reindeer to see the new baby, which they named Rudolph. And Santa's kind of a jerk in this movie, because he sees the red nose, and he's like, nah, that's not going to work. If he wants to be in my crew and drive my sleigh, we can't be having the red nose, so you got to find a fix for that. And then he just walks off after singing a little song about how he's jolly or some shit. Anyway, so all of Rudolph's life, they hide his red nose through mud, and then later his dad, Donner, invents this little cap that goes over it that makes him talk really funny, like someone's holding his nose, but he still has to wear it because obviously he's got a red nose, and that's just bad for some reason. So, you know, he gets taught all these reindeer stuff by his dad, and then it comes to time for the tryouts, where they all go to the coach and they try out to be on Santa's sleigh team. And it turns out that he is one of the best flyers. I mean, all the other kids try to fly. The first task is to see how far they can fly, and most of them just hop a little bit, and then fall on their faces. But Rudolph meets this girl. What's her name? I keep forgetting her name. Clarice. And Clarice says that she likes him and wants him to walk her home. So he gets really super excited and says, oh, she likes me, and just jumps and flies like 30 feet. And so everyone's like, oh, wow, this guy's awesome, right? And then he's just so excited, and then his nose just glows bright red, and bam, off pops his fake nose. And everyone's like, get the hell away from me, what the hell is that? And the coach, he's like really mean. He's like, come on, man, we gotta get out of here. Leave this guy alone. We won't let Rudolph join any of the reindeer games, will we, kids? And the kids are like, no, we won't. And then they walk off. And then Santa walks up to Donner, which, you know, is Rudolph's dad, and he's like, hold on, I wrote this down because I was like, what the hell, Santa? You're a douchebag. You should be ashamed of yourself. What the hell? He can't help that he had a kid with a red nose. It sounds like you should be ashamed of yourself. And then he just walks off. And so Rudolph starts to run off and cry. And Clarice comes up behind me and she's like, oh, I thought you wanted to walk me home. And he's like, you still want to hang out with me because even though I have a red nose? And of course she does, because she's an awesome person. And doesn't care. But on their way home, Clarice's dad comes in and he's like, no, you won't be hanging out with this red-nosed guy. Who knows what he's doing. Like, you come home, you're not hanging out with this guy. So he just continues going off crying. And now the second thing starts off with about an elf. And this elf's name is Kirby. And he works, making toys all day with the other elves, but he's not happy. He doesn't like his job. He wants to become a dentist. And the head elf guy, the boss, is like, nah, no one becomes a dentist. You just frickin' do your work. And everyone laughs at him for being a dentist. So he decides to run away. And that's when Kirby and Rudolph, people that are both different and got shunned from their own places, meet up. And they decide, screw those people, we're just going to run off on our own and see what we can find. So they have a cool little musical number. And then they go off. And they meet this guy, what's his name? Real quick. Yukon Cornelius, who is a prospector, and he's one of my favorite characters in this movie. And he has a sleigh dog team, and none of them are like Siberian Huskies. They're all like small dogs. It's kind of funny, and they struggle to pull this guy around. And so they meet up with him, and he's like, "Well, you two shouldn't be walking around here by yourself. Hop on my sled, and I'll give you a ride." And that's when the abominable snowman comes into play and really takes a liking to Rudolph's red glowy nose and chases them. They barely make it away, and they chip off an ice block, and then they just float. And they end up on the island of Misfit Toys, which is run by a friggin' sweet guy who is a lion that can fly and has wings. And there's Misfit Toys here. All the toys that are messed up aren't right go here, like a Jack-in-the-Box. No one wanted him because his real name is George. No one wants a George in a box. And there's just they go through a bunch of toys and they sing the Misfit Toy song. And being misfits themselves, and shun themselves, they really grow to like these toys. And they go to see the king to see if they can stay on the island. The king's like, no, this island is only for misfit toys. But if you ever make it back to Santa, tell him about this place and maybe he can help find these toys homes. So they decide, Yukon Cornelius, Kirby, and Rudolph, but the lion guy says that they can stay a night on the island. And so they decide that they're going to leave the next morning. And Rudolph's like, no, I'll go alone to try to go get Santa for the Misfit Island toys. I'll go alone because the abominable snowman will come after us all, as opposed to just me if I go on my own. They're like, no, it's decided, we're all going together. So Rudolph sneaks off on his own and leaves his friends sleeping, to save them so that there aren't in any danger. And he makes his own little ice block boat. Excuse me. And then he floats off and lands on an island. And it takes him about 3 months to get back to his home, his Santa, and the North Pole. And by that time, we see him growing from a baby to he's middle-aged with just little nubs for antlers. And now it's 3 months later, and we see he's got a nice bit of antlerage to him. So, so during this time that he's traversing the unknown to get back to his home, there's a massive storm that destroys the toy workshop, destroys all the presents. It's a great movie. I give it a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. It was really cool. It wasn't even that cheesy. Going back on this, and then of course, since all the toys are destroyed, you know where they're going to go to get some toys, because they can't make toys that fast. And, of course, Santa asks, since it's so stormy and everything, Santa asks Rudolph to lead a sleigh. And if I was Rudolph, I would have been like, you know what, Santa, fuck you, and I just would have walked on because that guy was a jerk the whole freaking movie to him. But like I said, okay, and this also comes with some special features. It comes with, the DVD itself has the 1964 original TV airing. The 10-minute, 11-minute introduction of the guy who created it, and he goes through the creative process and all the people involved, and it's a really cool 10-minute little thing. And